When the Andy Griffith Show first aired, it felt effortless, gentle pacing, soft humor, and a small-town calm that made everything seem perfectly controlled. Every pause felt deliberate, every reaction rehearsed, and the show earned a rare level of trust from its audience. Yet buried beneath that polished surface were moments that slipped through untouched, blooper-level details that weren't reshot, cleaned up, or corrected, yet somehow made it to air and stayed there for decades. That contrast between Mayberry's calm illusion and its quiet imperfections is part of what makes the series so enduring. Set in the fictional town of Mayberry, North Carolina, the show followed Sheriff Andy Taylor, a steady and patient widower raising his son Opie while managing a town that rarely meant harm. Alongside him were Opie's wide-eyed innocence, Aunt Bee's warmth, and the nervous energy of Deputy Barney Fife, whose chaos fueled much of the comedy. The humor never rushed. It grew naturally from human flaws rather than punchlines, making the world feel lived in and safe. After debuting in 1960 as a spin-off from The Danny Thomas Show, the series became an instant success, remaining in America's top 10 for its entire 8-season run and earning multiple Emmy Awards, particularly for Don Knotts. Ironically, that success nearly never happened. Andy Griffith was struggling professionally before Mayberry existed, watching his Broadway momentum fade and his options narrow. In a candid move, he turned directly to television executives, admitting that TV might be his last real opportunity. That honesty led to a pilot, then a series, and eventually one of the most stable sitcoms television ever produced. Yet even with its reputation for precision, small inconsistencies slipped through. Barney Fife's middle name changed repeatedly, props moved between shots, and wardrobe details appeared and disappeared without explanation. The illusion of Mayberry extended far beyond continuity. Though presented as rural North Carolina, the show was filmed entirely in California. The famous fishing hole from the opening credits sits inside Los Angeles' Franklin Canyon Park, just minutes from Beverly Hills. The setting worked because the illusion was carefully protected, much like Opie's rock toss in the opening sequence, which wasn't thrown by young Ron Howard at all but by a crew member off-camera when the child couldn't get enough distance. Behind the scenes, the actors often mirrored the opposite of their characters. Andy Griffith was playful and relaxed, while Don Knotts, who embodied Barney's frantic energy, was serious and methodical. Knotts didn't even know if he'd return after the first episode, but the chemistry between him and Griffith was undeniable. That partnership, however, ended quietly when Knotts requested partial ownership of the show and was declined, leading him to step away permanently. Not all relationships were as warm. Frances Bayvere, who played Aunt Bee, struggled with being permanently identified by the role and didn't always connect with her co-stars, particularly Griffith. Still, her bond with the character followed her into retirement, and she was ultimately laid to rest near the real-life town that inspired Mayberry. Despite its polish, the show occasionally revealed its seams, shattered glass that magically repaired itself between cuts, characters swapping glasses or jackets mid-scene, a bike bell switching sides, a trench coat that went from dry to soaked and back again, even a bear scene where handlers briefly appeared on screen. These weren't flaws that broke the magic. They humanized it, reminding viewers how fast early television moved and how much trust it placed in the audience. When the Andy Griffith Show ended in 1968, it did so at the very top, still the #1 show in America. Andy Griffith walked away not because the magic was fading, but because he didn't want to live inside Andy Taylor forever. The final moments were quiet, emotional, and complete. 8 years after stepping into Mayberry, he removed the badge, thanked his cast and crew through tears, and left behind a town that never overstayed its welcome. Mayberry didn't unravel. It simply stopped, whole, intact, and timeless.